Our country has been rattled. Right now, millions of women are trying to deal with the loss of agency over our own bodies. Because behind closed doors, 5 justices on the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. This new world is full of questions. Will there be a national ban on abortion? What other rights will we lose? And the true test of democracy, is it how it treats its women of society? I don't know. American women, though, will not be silenced. And today, we are going to talk about how many are standing on the shoulders of those who came before us to fight. Fight not just for our generation, but fight for future generations. And one of the women who's helping to lead the way on that fight, in that charge, is with us now, Congresswoman Cori Bush of Missouri. Congresswoman, thank you so much for being here. I first want to ask you, can you just tell me where you were and what went through your mind when you heard the court's decision?
Yeah, so it just so happened that I was at the very same abortion clinic where I had my own abortion back when I was 18. The sole abortion provider for the state of Missouri. I was there with Secretary Becerra of HHS, and we were there with abortion providers, patient storytellers, and advocates talking about what would happen in our state because we are one of the trigger ban states. And during that roundtable discussion, the decision came.
So that is just so harrowing. You know, I know that Missouri, your state, was one of the first in the nation to enact a near total ban on abortion right after Roe was overturned. Right now, there is a woman somewhere in Missouri who needs an abortion, who needs health care, and she cannot get that care. What can she do next?
So, you know, what was really disturbing about it was that we knew that people had appointments that same weekend, people who had been planning for days or weeks. We're talking about someone who had to make a decision for their own body and toiled over the decision, which, you know, what should I do right now? What is best for me? What is best for this time? And they made the decision. They reached out. They got an appointment, and then that was taken from them in a moment because our AG signed immediately and made abortion illegal in our state, made it a felony in our state. And so what we were telling people, Illinois has still, abortion is still legal in Illinois. Go to Illinois. We were talking with advocates. They were saying, hey, tell Missouri people that are pregnant, that are looking for abortions, tell them to hurry up and make appointments in Illinois because now there's going to be this huge waiting list. But we're also telling people, you know, we need people to understand that, first of all, care is care, and you can still get care now, even when we look at the abortion pill, you know, so that is still available. We need people to know that there are multiple ways that you can still receive services. So none of those, our abortion clinic in St. Louis did not close down. They're still ready to help people. Our office is taking calls if people need to know where to go.
An abortion clinic in St. Louis is still open.
The clinic itself, but they cannot
administer abortions, obviously, yes, but the clinic is still open.
But you can still talk to the advocates.
You know, Congresswoman, we actually have some sound from you on the day Roe was overturned. You talked about being inside that clinic in St. Louis. You were on a balcony and you were really raising hell. You were preaching. You moved a lot of people to tears. And I do want to play just a little bit of that for folks.
I remember sitting right here in this clinic when I was 17. And I remember after that rape, when I sat here and I looked over and there was this girl that I was 17. She was 13. She was 13. She kept her head down the entire time. And I know how scared she must have been because let me tell you how scared I was. So I'm here and I use my voice the same way you do, unapologetically, full of ready, set, let's go. Because just like the person standing next to me, this is my niece. I gotta fight for my niece. I gotta fight for my daughter. I gotta fight for you. I gotta fight for who comes behind behind you. I got to fight for the person that's next to you. You got to fight for the person that's next to you. You got to fight for the people that are coming up in 30 years. We got to fight.
Congresswoman, I just actually got chills watching that again, because there are millions of women across the country, thousands of women in Missouri who I don't think ever thought they had to be here in this place that we are right now. What is next in this fight?
You know, I'm going to, first of all, it gave me chills again, and I'm just listening to it. But, you know, we gotta look at everything. Everything is on the table. We shouldn't be taking anything off the table. So something that I've been saying for this entire time I've been in Congress, abolishing the filibuster, pass the Women's Health Protection Act to codify the right to abortion care. We need to expand the court. I know that these aren't popular with some folks, but we have to do everything we can to save lives. When we expand the court, we restore its legitimacy as a body that reflects the needs of the majority of the people in this country. We need to repeal the Hyde Amendment, and we need to increase the access to medication abortion and prevent the state's efforts to ban its use. We know that that's what's happening, and we need to make sure that logistically people are able to access the care that they need. So the money for childcare, money for travel, money for housing, all of that now.
You know, Congresswoman, you mentioned a number of legislative remedies that Congress could take, and it strikes me that the United States House of Representatives, you all have acted. What do you say to your colleagues in the Senate, though? They had the opportunity to codify Roe into law last year, and they failed to do it.
You know, first of all, it goes back to who we allow in these seats. You know, I know right now we have to go with who we have, but we also got to be looking at who we are allowing to be reelected or who we're allowing to be elected, because we're talking about senators who have a vote. We're talking about even in the House, who are we standing behind saying, yes, we need you here? Are we talking about people who are anti-abortion, people who are anti, bodily autonomy, for pregnant people? This is what we have to ask. So, but for our senators, our Republican senators who would not stand up, when we know that the numbers have shown that the majority of people in this country did not want to see Roe v. Wade overturned, and then looking at what happens after that, are we talking about marriage equality? I have folks in my district who are, we just went through Pride Weekend. Yeah. We just had an amazing Pride Weekend, but the tears and the questions that people had for their congresswoman was, what's going to happen and how can you fight for us? So this was just the door. And so our Senate Republicans need to look at not what is going to fill their coffers, not what's going to make them look like the biggest Trumper or the most conservative. Look at what your community members need, and that has to be all the community, not just the ones that donate to you.
Congresswoman Cori Bush, thank you so much for being here. I, for one, appreciate your voice.
Thank you so much. Yours too.